Are there times where you say, you know what, boss, I'm not doing this? You know, maybe it's illegal, maybe it's immoral, maybe it's unethical, and you go, yep, you can fire me, cool. I'm not gonna ruin my whole life because of you. Maybe it's he has a different idea on where we're gonna expend our capital. And you say, look, I think it's stupid to spend marketing money there. I'm not gonna write that check. Well, now what does he do? Fires you or moves you to a different department, and now he gets, bring in old kiss-ass Jason. He does whatever I told him to do. Jason, write a big check. Jason goes, yes, boss. Yeah. So you can give up your influence. Remember when General Mattis resigned as Secretary of Defense? How long was that in the news for? 24 hours? How much influence did he have over the administration? None. Hackworth in Vietnam gave his big interview. It hit the news. It was gone. How much influence did he have over the troops in Vietnam? None. So if you're going to make that move, you better really calculate what you're doing. And actually, I just had this conversation with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because they were all friends with McNamara. And I don't like McNamara. And I don't like LBJ. And I was like, why didn't McNamara just, because they were saying McNamara, good guy, which I don't believe, or which I have a hard time seeing. Why didn't McNamara just resign? And they said, or RFK said, McNamara was like the only thing keeping it together, which again, I find it hard to believe, but maybe that was him saying, look, I could resign and protest over what Lyndon B. Johnson's doing, but if I did, I'd have no more influence and the war would escalate even more. Okay. So maybe that was a calculated decision. I don't know, but that's something we all need to think about. If you throw your sword on the ground and say, I'm not doing that, and you get fired, how much can you protect your men now? Your troops? You can't. You can't. So keep that in mind. What you might have to do is say, Roger, and then mitigate to the best of your ability. You guys have all seen Band of Brothers, right? Remember the last series in Band of Brothers where Dick Winters gets told, do a recon across the river. And he's like, sir, I don't think we really need to. The war's gonna be over, like the documents are signed, the war's gonna be over. He's like, do a recon across the river. So goes and does a recon across the river. What happens? Gets a couple casualties, comes back, didn't learn anything, it's dumb. What's he get told the next night? Do another recon across the river. Sir, I don't think that's a good idea. We already lost guys, we didn't see anything, the documents have already been signed. Do another recon across the river. What does he do? Roger that, sir. Takes his guys down into the cellar of one of the buildings and has a little wine party. SEALs in Vietnam did that. SEALs in Vietnam did that. The old Vietnam guys told me sometimes they'd get told to do some mission in some area and they'd say, hey, that's not a good area for us. There's hard to get in and out of. Enemy activity's overwhelming for us. No, go do it. You know what they would do? Patrol out the wire 100 yards, sit in the bush for 6 hours, before sunrise, come back in. Hey, we didn't see anything, boss. So, those are some ways you might mitigate. Jason just went over a bunch of ways that Longstreet could have mitigated. Hey, you really want me to do this, boss? Got it. We're heading down there. Yep, we get down there. Maybe he goes, gosh, that flank is not in the air. That's going to be a tough fight. Hey, General, I've got eyes on right now. That flank is not in the air. This is going to be a bloodbath. Give me some other options. Attack anyways. Okay, all right, guys, we'll do the best we can. So those are some adjustments and some tactics that you can use. Finding out why we're doing something. Like, why are we doing this? Why? Why are we doing this? And there's some bosses that they say, well, you know, I get it. You know, because I always say, look, I want my team to ask me why. I want Leif to say to me like, hey, why are we doing this op tonight? Why are we doing this op tonight? And I better be able to say like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we're moving towards. Here's what we're trying to make happen. He goes, okay, that makes sense. Maybe the next night he's like, hey, Jocko, why are we doing this op? And I'm like, well, here's what's going on. This is what we want to interdict. This is what we want to interrupt. This is what we want to make happen. And he goes, Jocko, even if we do that, it's not going to change anything because good point. I don't have a good why. If I don't have a good why are we doing it? And I hear all kinds of stupid things. We as leaders make people do stupid things sometimes. We don't even know why we're making them do it. So pay attention to that. If you can't answer the why, then why the hell are you doing it? You continually cannot come to a conclusion with, a resolution. If I'm continually having a problem with resolution with someone in my organization, eventually you look at it and you go, oh, wait, what was Jocko talking about when I could never get resolution with someone? What was that? Oh, it was alignment. It was alignment. Now we have a problem. Husband and wife. Husband wants to make a ton of money. Wife wants time with the husband. We got to figure out a compromise. We got to get aligned on what that looks like. Otherwise, you've got someone that's going to go out and chase the business and someone that's going to go out and leave for family. So that's what we're dealing with. If we've got a company, one person wants to take care of the client, one person wants to take care of, make more money. If we can't realize that those can be aligned, we take care of clients and we make more money, we're going to have a problem. But if you're in your team, you got your concrete business, and you got people on the team that someone's like, well, I actually don't want to work this day, and I don't want to work that day, and I don't want to work another day, and all of a sudden you start thinking, wait a second, what are his goals? What is this person's goals? Because they're not aligned with ours. Now, does this mean you fire them right away? No, but you keep that in mind, and you know, I got to find someone that actually wants to build a business with me. So alignment is key. It is normally not the problem. If you get to the end of your rope with someone, then you got to check yourself and be like, hold on a second. We might not be aligned. And it's a real problem if you're not aligned. And the last thing I'll say is this. This kind of friction that we're talking about inside of an organization, this kind of friction that we're talking about is what brings organizations down. It's what brings organizations down. It brings SEAL platoons down. If you have a platoon chief that doesn't get along with the platoon commander, we in TRADET would just watch an explosion or an implosion. Just two guys can't get along about whether they should attack the target from the north or the west. And that argument destroys the relationship, destroys the platoon. This happens, this friction in these relationships. And that's what's going on right here in this tent. There's some kind of friction that can't be worked out and we can't get unified. And if we can't get unified, leave. It's over. It's over. Who can we control getting unified? Who can I control? Control myself. I'm gonna make adjustments. I'm gonna subordinate my ego. I'm gonna do everything I can to use Jamie's plan that she's all passionate about. I'm gonna do everything I can to support it. Everything. If I can't articulate why I wanna do something a certain way, and Jamie's just like, no, well, Jocko, if we don't spend that money, and no, I don't really, and I can't explain to her where she goes, oh yeah, that's a good point, got it. If it's that hard for me to make my point, it's the explanation effort meter. If it's so hard for me to explain why I want to do something, maybe it's not that good of a freaking idea. So if it's really hard for you to explain to your subordinates or your peers or your boss why you want to do something a certain way, check yourself, because it's probably not a great freaking idea. And when you do have a great idea and you're like, hey, I think we should do this, and everyone goes, let's rock and roll. It's real easy. Great ideas work out great. Great ideas enter into people's minds so easily because they make sense. So think about that as well. But most important, like I said, if you've got friction, you got that friction in there, what can you do? What can you do? You got a frictional relationship, what can you do? Build a relationship. What does that mean? Trust, listen, respect, influence, and care. Give those things away. Give them away. That's the only way you're gonna get them back.